So, testing. This is November 21st, 2018 at 12 a.m. p.m. Pacific Standard Time with Vashta. In this now of your time.
I am amazing. How are you, Bella?
Yes! I am wonderful, full of wonder as always to be connecting with you in this now, in this way. We ask you, how may we be of service to you? You may proceed with however your imagination sees fit, with any questions, statements, reflections, or exclamations.
Well, thank you. I was going to ask first, we had a session already before, and as you know, it did not get recorded. So
yes.
My take on it was that my counterpart is all that had something to do with it, and I would like to hear your take on it.
That is my take on it as well. And also then I had something to do with it as well.
Do you know, can you tell me the reasons?
Yes. You and I and the channel and your counterpart in this way were beginning to open doors to information, to themes that had not been explored thus far. We felt it most relevant for you and the channel, as you realized on your own, to discuss these themes and remember the conversation and the contact and the interaction and the ideas expressed and explored in your own states, in your personality, in your ability to channel the information. Also, it was known that there were intentions to share the session publicly, and we, in this way, could feel that certain topics were not quite ready to be discussed. And also, it is in a way what you expected might happen. To be able then to validate all of our trickster natures in this way. To have a bit of fun, a bit of play, and to show you as well how we truly do, when it is applicable and relevant for us to do so, have the ability to co-create together truly in your physical third density reality. And also to point to and truly have you and the channel experience that when we come together in this way, we truly are creating a new third reality, a blending, the simulacrum in that way, to use one of the Guild's new favorite vocabulary words. We truly then create this new third reality that then is not much more easier for you all to come a bit closer to our density and for us to then come a bit closer to your density. There was no explainable reason in this way how the recording device would have been stopped. So it is an example then of this co-creation, of this third reality that we truly do create together. So yes, many reasons and many explorations and many play in this way why the recording was halted.
That's awesome.
Yes.
We kind of figured it out and we clued into that. And I assume that the conversation we had afterwards about the session is something that you were listening to. So
Oh, yes.
how well did we do in remembering?
Oh, you did quite well in this way. You always do. Remember that you truly do. Remember, create what you perceive to be your memories in perfect alignment. In this way, you always get exactly what you truly need to get. In every moment, in every now.
Perfect. Okay, I was going to start with a question that came up recently. A friend of mine on Facebook had a dream experience with me, and I would like to tell you this experience and just to get your take on it.
Yes.
You were directly or indirectly involved. So she said, Vashta is doing a ceremony, ritual, or extraction, maybe even a psychedelic thing on herself. Or somebody's doing a ceremony in her. I thought I saw a cocoa ceremony, not sure. I said to her, Vashta, why are you doing this? And she said, I think I know. There was a quiet surrender in Vashta as she squirmed around like a snake laying there with her body. The sound of the voice was familiar that was near Vashta. It was saying, don't be somebody you don't trust. It was the voice of the woman that channels Bella, but she was speaking my light language as like my voice was coming out of her body. So what's your take on this?
We have one question in this way. You said a cocoa?
Yeah. Like
What is this, please?
Like a chocolate ingredient.
Oh, yes.
Cocoa. I don't know what that ceremony is. I was just reading what she said.
We understand.
Irrelevant.
We understand. This is a certain cacao ceremony that has become more common on your planet, in your civilization in this now. And it is one ceremony in this way that I have chosen to partake in. I have not chosen to explore many of what you would understand different journey medicines in this way. We do have them from my realm, from the YahYel realm, but it has been part of my journey in this way to tap into them using other sources. However, one substance that I have been curious about and do feel relevant for me to explore and have in what you would understand as the past is your cacao, is your cocoa. This was a very multi-leveled co-creation existing in an alternate reality, an alternate dimension, a dimensional overlay in this way. As you understand, some of your dreams very much are perhaps more so processing dreams, yes, coming more so from what you would more classically define as the subconscious, even though, yes, it is always then connected to the superconscious. Then there are other dreams in a way where you are more so directly accessing an alternate dimensional reality. This was one of those dreams. And yes, I and your counterpart in this way were also involved, as well as the higher self of the channel, and the higher self of you, and the higher self of the individual that relayed this experience. There were others involved as well. There were others partaking in this ceremony, you might say. The cacao is also actually part of this. Not necessarily in a direct matter way. There were no substances ingested in this way. But the energy of Gaia herself was being transmitted through all of us, through the energy of the cacao experience. Essentially, this was a type of ceremony, a type of journey, a type of co-creational experience for all of us involved to begin to further shed our skins, shift, and reflect together. To redefine some experiences that may be deemed, certainly from your perspectives, as uncomfortable. So those of us more so in fourth density, more so in the hybrid family perspective, you understand, we're able to act as guides, to more so directly, as we always do, than act as reflections and mirrors for your higher self. But this is an example, you might say, of some of the more direct training, more direct classes, more direct co-creations in this way that we speak about, that you all have done, do, and will do in your dreamscape with us. Connecting with Gaia frequencies and redefining, as we say, perhaps uncomfortable experiences, helping you redefine for you, and aiding in having a more pleasurable time with perhaps what you would define as a purge.
A purge of what? I feel like when I read that, I felt it was resonating with me like it was something specific, but I couldn't really clue in as to what it was. The way it was said, like, don't be somebody you don't trust, it rang a bell in my system, but I can't really clue in as to what it actually means, specifically for me.
There are certain aspects of the trickster archetype that do stem from a, we might say, darker, more segregative polarization. Mm-hmm. You and the channel, and I and your counterpart have a certain percentage of that. In order for us to be able to do the job that we wish to do in this now, to do the joy, the play, the honor in this way, it is part of our makeup in this way. However, it may be part of the foundation, but it doesn't need to be the walls or the structure itself at all. And so being able to shed the skin, tap into the ultimate integrative aspects of the ultimate wisdom, the snake, the knowing, the ultimate positivity that is within the darkness, and releasing, purging, letting go of the aspects of the darkness in this way that are not in service.
That makes perfect sense.
Yes.
I mean, I was kind of cluing into that, but I wasn't sure if it's that or something else. And speaking of, I was wondering about that trickster energy and how does one navigate and let oneself go to be in the flow with it without worrying too much about this particular aspect.
To truly, in this way, choose to trust. To choose to know that you are grounded, stable, integrative enough to truly wield this great power very gracefully. It is a choice in this way to truly choose to know that you can trust you. To be in the awareness that you truly are directly in your stream of channeling you, what you need for you, and what you are able to provide and give to the all that is. To also, we say, allow yourselves to slow down ever so slightly. That combined with truly choosing to trust that anything that comes through you, any idea, any inspiration, any action you understand, is then what is needed, is then what is most relevant to continue the flow. To know truly that you know. And also, we say that this specific ritual, this specific ceremony in this way, can be utilized as a permission slip, not only for you, but for the channel and the individual that had this dream, and any that may be listening to this that are also connected to this trickster energy, that it can truly be utilized as the permission slip, as the door opening, the ador apan. That you can now truly choose to trust your infinite trust.
Yeah. Okay. I will look into it. I didn't even know that such a ceremony existed.
Yes.
So it's exciting.
Yes, there is a cacao cocoa ceremony in this way.
Okay, excellent. Thank you.
Thank you.
I will go back to the tricksters a little bit later because I have some more questions about that, but I want to go through my list so that I don't get lost.
Oh, but it's so fun to get lost, isn't it?
Okay, so next question that I was pondering about, how do the blood groups and blood types work in your civilization? Do you have, like we do, like different blood types?
Yes, we do.
I was listening to somebody talking about the RH negative and RH positive.
Yes.
And, well, the medical thing about it, I think everybody knows pretty much by now that when a mother is RH negative and the father is RH positive, the baby can have like problems, and the mother can have problems because of the antibodies when the baby herself or himself is RH positive. So this was the situation with me. My mom is RH negative, and I heard, I guess interpretation of that would be that the children who are RH positive born from RH negative mothers are sort of hybrids. So, like, do you have anything to add to that, or another perspective, or how does that work further down the line in your civilization?
It is done a bit more strategically, you might say. We, in all aspects of our civilization, have the ability to be more in the awareness of synchronicity, more in the action of telepathy, and to be able to, like your dolphins on your planet here, be able to truly see chemicals being released in the body, see the blood type. And it is then part of the agreement, part of what then attracts us to each other. Also, it has been part of the organization in regards to the hybridization program with your civilization, bringing about certain aspects of the next generation of hybrid children.
Okay, so I know how you always say that you are always connected to us, and all of you are our hybrid children.
Yes.
In a way.
Yes.
But I remember you saying in your first message to me before I did your beautiful artwork.
Yes.
Artwork of the beautiful you, let's say.
Oh, but it is beautiful artwork as well. The beautiful you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Why did you mention that our, like yours and mine, bone structures are very
Because
similar?
we have more percentage of DNA. You in this way are one of my donors, you might say.
Awesome.
Yes. In what more so you may classically define it. For yes, any of you in this way that have contributed to the hybridization program in any form, any of your contributions in this way can be found in some percentage of all of us in a diluted variety of percentages in this way. You all are all of our parents. And we do feel that it is most relevant for you all to begin to truly feel this. For this is then a direct reflection. We are serving as the permission slip in this way, as we always do, to be that mirror for you to truly know how big you are. How big your heart is. How vast the family is that is you. There is a type of emotional activation that comes from truly inner standingness. And then yes, it may be more relevant from time to time for those of us that have slightly more percentage connection to be able to interact and communicate and share with each other.
It was kind of easier for me to grasp that a little bit more from a different angle as I was recently thinking about the scope of this, and I was thinking backwards in time.
Yes.
And thinking about, for example, the Anu and the civilization that created us.
Yes.
And, like, what would it look like if somebody from that civilization asked, how many hybrid children do I have?
Yes.
And then there's like this whole planet
Yes.
and other planets. And
Well,
other
technically,
planets.
over 7 billion, even in this now itself. Yes, you understand the scope of it in this way.
Yeah.
And this is, as we say, all being done very strategically to activate your knowingness within you of how big the one heart truly is. And then we feel that then this puts you all in a perspective of truly being in your now. Of then truly having the perspective, having questions in this way, then how does this information serve me in this now? Yes? How does this then become applicable and usable, relevant in your day-to-day life? As we said, it activates a type of emotional response in you that from our perspective allows you to be that much more present, that much more in your now, and that much more in the ability to utilize these messages and this essentially true story, but being interpreted, being relayed as a certain type of mythology, then allows you to truly clue into the messages and morality tales that are applicable in your day-to-day lives.
And it helps us to kind of have an insight into the amount of influence we have on this very reality.
Oh, yes.
Because our lifespans are, shorter than yours, as you know, and we don't still have access to the scope of our energies and influences and everything.
Yes.
So when we are offered a perspective like this, it really means a lot
Yes.
for, our sense of self-importance to get rooted into us properly.
We are sincerely glad that you think so as well. For as we said, this is being done very strategically to allow you all to use it as a permission slip, to use this concept as an activation in a variety of different ways. For then you to get even more grounded, even more in the inner standing that you are truly creating your physical reality, and that you are the ultimate impact on what you are experiencing. So again, we sincerely thank you for seeing it this way as well, feeling it this way as well.
Thank you for the reflection.
Our joy and our pleasure, as always.
Beautiful. So I wanted to cover something that we talked about last time, and I kind of wanted to go over it again and see what comes up. I asked you about the YahYel making their own children as an individual race.
Yes.
And I asked, how does that work, since you're also in contact with our hybrid children?
Yes.
And your own children, are they being hybridized further with humans, or are they made exclusively by the members of the YahYel race?
Both. And it is done, we can share in this now, more quote-unquote naturally, you might say, than perhaps you all have been thinking, or than perhaps we all have shared together consciously thus far. We are able to create our children biologically, to give birth physically, and depending on the desires of the YahYel civilization, and the desires in this way then of the soul that is incarnating. For this is all in awareness. This is all in the co-creation, in the awareness of synchronism. So there are varying children in this way, and may come from two parents or more. For we have the ability in this way to intermingle our intimacy in a very conscious, very grounded, very pure way, we might say. Yes, it's fun, very sensual as well, but also there is a certain level of integrity, a certain level of consciousness that is still truly coming into fruition on your planet, in your civilization. And we have the ability in this way to decide as a YahYel collective who will be the carrier of the child, who will give birth to the child physically in this way, but it is felt and experienced by all of the members of the YahYel, even those that did not participate in the ceremony, so to speak. And then specifically those who were involved, who their genetic contributions can go through the energy itself. We can fuse our energies in this way, even though, yes, there may be one sperm from one YahYel male going into one YahYel female, but the consciousness in this way is able to drive the DNA. And so it is very much...
So you still need a male and
yes.
a female. Like, how does that work with you? Do you still have genders?
In most cases, yes. This is part of our exploration. There are other forms of exploring this. But in most cases, this is still how we are choosing to explore the idea of polarity. But yes, ultimately, creation itself is a trinity, and there are many other different ways that we do explore this. But to answer this question in this now, this is specifically the door that I am choosing to open. But yes, there are other ways.
Beautiful. And how does the process of pregnancy work? How long is the pregnancy, and how is the birth, and what happens after the birth?
It is much faster in this way than yours. Perhaps what you would understand as around 3 months of your time. However, time does not function at all in the same way, and it can vary on individual. For certain individuals carrying the child, we wish to clarify that, yes, there may be one individual that is carrying the child, but this is where the experience of polarity and gender in this way gets a bit muddled and a bit blended. For all members then of this creation have the experience of being pregnant in this way, regardless of gender. And so it varies from group to group in this way, or from couple to couple, depending on the scenario, how long they wish to experience it. And also then on the child itself, how long they wish to experience this concept of growing. So it may be, in certain cases, to us to feel as though it is just the next moment, the next frame, or can feel like a matter of months. Sometimes, like your 9 months to even as long as a year, tapping into how some of the cetaceans perceive this experience, but generally a shorter amount of time in this way as you would perceive it, but this varies extremely from case to case, from desire to desire. Now, the birth itself, for the most part, is what you would define as orgasmic. There are some individuals that choose to have the experience to feel what you would define as the pain in this way. For they are curious to experience how our ancestors have experienced it, meaning the human civilization, and to be able to have a new definition, a new experience of what you would define as the pain, and still this ends up being experienced as orgasmic, as you would define it. There are also then, we can share with you, very physical, very intimate, very sensual, and very integrated and grounded interactions with members of the YahYel and your human civilization. This is how a majority of the hybrid children, the most recent generation of the hybrid children, have been created. Once again, this can be done as a coupling, this can be done as, in a sense, as you would define it, perhaps a third gender or a group gender. And it is then decided from each individual case who will be the carrier, you might say. It is usually the YahYel's recommendation that one of the YahYel carry the children, for they will, in most cases, stay with us. And the emotional experience for the human perspective in this now can be a bit intense. So it is usually our recommendation in this way for one of the YahYel to be the carriers. But it is always then available for humans to make their own choices. And it does happen from time to time that humans will be the carriers. And then different procedures, perhaps slightly more technological type of experiences, or also acceleration of time in different ways, giving birth in a quasi-physical state, more so in fourth density. Once again, then a variety of different experiences, a variety of different intentionalized, conscious creations in this way can occur. We also wish to clarify a bit of what you tapped into in regards to different genders. We have the ability to temporarily shapeshift as well in relevant experiences such as this. I also then wish to state that all of this coming through now, it is what is deemed relevant for the collective, for the channel, and for you in this now to begin to experience more of the puzzle pieces, to begin to feel, and to then also begin to perhaps activate your own discernment. For this is always then what my job is, what my role is as this very specific type of representative coming from this very specific lineage, acting as a very specific archetype of the trickster energy. This is now my perspective through the simulacrum.
Understood. Okay, so I wanted to ask you about the Shia.
Yes.
The fourth hybrid race, which Bashar said are guides for the YahYel. So
yes.
We don't really know much about them, and I don't know how relevant it is to open that door, but
yes.
I'm really, really excited to learn.
Yes! We are able to give a little bit more information to perhaps provide you a little bit more of an archetype to play with in this way. Yes, they are in this way guides for us, and they are existing a bit closer to fifth density, fifth dimension. More of them are in the fifth density and dimension, perhaps even than the Shikani in this way. As I am being shown relevant to explain to you in this now, yes, they are even a bit more quasi-physical than the Shikani. The Shikani have made a very specific agreement from my perspective to remain that much more physical for the job that they were doing. Now, the YahYel in this way functions slightly different, slightly more, yes, in a guide space, but there are some that have yet to fully make the transition, and like the Shikani are choosing to stay slightly more physicalized for a variety of different reasons. The archetype that I am being shown is a bit like your Tolkien elves. Now, whether or not the pointed ears are actually a part of the picture, oh ha 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 ha, we are laughing, is irrelevant. There is an essence in this way that we feel relevant that you can tap into. Connected to, yes, the Greylands in this way. Connected to Gaia frequency, much as we are. This will open the door a bit more for more of their energy and more of their archetype to come through. But they are choosing in this way to remain a bit elusive, you might say.
That's perfect. It's enough of a nugget to
yes.
chew on. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I have a few more questions. Let's start with this one first. A little bit controversial.
Oh, fun.
As you already know, I explore a lot of timelines simultaneously when it comes to the first contact.
Well, you all do. But you perhaps are slightly more conscious of doing this.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, I guess so. But
you can choose to continue to guess if you like, but you can also choose to know if you like.
I know.
Yes, thank you.
So, my excitement is to connect with many different beings and races, so the hybrid timeline is something I'm definitely a part of.
Yes.
But I am also very excited about meeting our ancestors in this way and learning from them. And I resonate with what Bashar is sharing, that he was clear about when he said that the YahYel are the first hybrid race
yes.
that we will meet, but not the first ET race. And it makes sense to me from my perspective, considering our collective abandonment trauma from our past. That
yes.
the first beings would be our ancestors in some way, as there's a lot of fear present still in the human collective around the idea of the hybrids. So could you speak more about this trauma we have collectively carried and still carry, and in general about your perspective on resolving traumas, as at least from my experience, the formula itself is not something that is very applicable for people who need a lot of healing before they can engage with life fully.
We understand this question, and this is a big part of perhaps my very specific role in this now. That, from my perspective, and you can say, perhaps, how I have been trained, is to very much know that the formula really is that simple and really is all that you need and really is the formula. But also, I have been trained to understand the emotional experience. And I have, in a sense, been trained to understand perhaps a bit of what you may define as the core imprinting, the emergence. And then to be able to reflect to you all that it still essentially stems from the choice. That it is, in a way, it is the way, ultimately, the belief that there is an aspect of the all that is shattered, or that is out of balance or out of harmony. This is true. Then there is also the reality where the all that is in harmony and in balance. And it truly is the choice then to believe this, to know this, and to act from this. Now, that being said, this is part of my training in this way to more so understand the emotional experience of being human. This is why I have strategically positioned my ship above your Hale Akala, your heart chakra. This is a wide answer in this way, especially how you started it, starting at the beginning of the beginning of the beginning, your race, you might say. So I will choose to more so answer this from your specific now. For those of you that are in the experience of trauma, are in the experience of extremely dense feelings, be it from your perceived original emergence, be it from the imprinting from the Anu, or be it from the imprinting from your family. You very much are in this now. Not only that, feeling these emotions to a certain level, feeling the shadow in this way, utilizing these shadow emotions to clue into your belief systems are extremely relevant, but there can be a certain level of perhaps getting stuck too much in the shadow. There can be the decision to know, as we said, that there is the other side of the coin, there is the wholeness, there is the integration, there is the understanding in a way from the spirit level to allow the will to vibrate, to allow the will, the emotional body, to know that it can be in a place of receptivity to the light. And then from there, from my perspective, it truly is to act in each and every moment. Now, the word excitement in this way, from my perspective, came through very strategically to activate you all on your ultimate signature frequency. And we understand. I am able to relay that we understand the experience of when you are very much in these traumatized vibrations of these denser experiences, to not be able to, in a sense, clue in on what excitement even feels like. And so, it then goes to the idea that it is your organizing principle that you will always do in the way what feels good for you to do. But perhaps there comes a time when it really then, as we say, becomes the choice to perhaps dig very deep, write yourself a different story, truly act from a different belief, truly allow the will, the shadow, to receive the light and to take action. And to do things, perhaps, that create a bit of discomfort, push you out of your comfort zone. To allow yourself to take action, to go somewhere, to do something. In any slight form that it may represent. But then this truly does, from my perspective and from how I have been trained to relay to you, truly does then activate the synchronicity and the reflections that these more traumatized, denser parts need. The synchronicity in this way then shows, validates the magic and the miracles that is the all that is. These more fragmented aspects of the human can then begin to soak in enough light, soak in essentially higher frequency emotions, but can then also truly see the ultimate positivity, the ultimate integration that comes from these denser emotions and can redefine. But truly pushing yourself ever so slightly out of your comfort zone will align you with synchronicity that reflects magic, that reflects light, that reflects the miracles, that allows these denser parts to get stronger. a muscle then is built, and a knowingness is then created. As your Joseph Campbell has said, I don't need faith. I have my experience. We hope that this answer suffices in this now. And we thank you for opening the door to this very specific topic.
Yeah, it does, and it makes perfect sense, and I feel like it's very relevant, very important to be addressed at this time.
Yes.
So thank you so much for that.
And thank you. And then, yes, in regarding the Anu, there may be certain more, as you would define it, extraterrestrial races that come, quote-unquote, first in this way. But from my perspective, this is still being decided. Everything shifts, everything changes, and truly, we all together, all of us, all of us are truly deciding collectively together what is the most preferred route to take in the years to come. And applying what we talked about, living from what we talked about, may then shift and balance and integrate these experiences of the fractal in different ways to then align with different first contact. You understand?
Beautiful. And that ties into my last question, because I wanted to end on a more playful note.
Oh, fun! But this is what we say as well, that again, from my perspective, I understand the emotional body of humanity, but this is what I am saying then, is to have a redefinition of the play that is the play of being human. So play.
Well, let's play with some stories then.
Oh yes, how fun. We love stories.
Let's imagine humanity is ready for physical contact with the YahYel. So,
yes.
Can you give a few scenarios of how would that unfold as an example of what we can tune into? Like, tell me a story or two of the landing from your perspective.
One moment. I will tell this story from the perspective of the human. A warm, comfortable day on the island of Maui. A faint drum beats in the distance. Hey oh ha ha, hey oh ha ha, hey oh ha ha, hey oh ha ku ha ha ha. The humans in this way are not quite sure if it is an uncle, an auntie, an aspect of the kahuna, or of the newly emerging kama'aina that play the drum, or if it is existing in an overlay reality. But the human knows in this way that there truly is then no difference. Standing on a hilltop, overlooking the jungle, hearing the birds, in time with the beating of the drum and the singing of the ancestors and the kama'aina in the now. The humans can also see the ocean. There have been perhaps some changes in the sea lines and the water levels, and there is a knowing then of ultimate gratitude and appreciation and connection to the Gaia. And then the clicks and whistles of the dolphins, the singing of the whales can also be heard. And the human knows in this now that, well, they are on land. They are grateful for being up Malka. And they know that what they are hearing in this way must be tuning into the overlay density. And this then becomes a memory. For memory of the human has then in there now begun to change. They have a different experience of creating the memory in the now. And they remember that, oh, yes, of course, in what I would understand as my yesterday, we also had this experience of overlooking the jungle and hearing the dolphins and the whales from up Malka, uphill. Creating the memory, experiencing the memory in the now. And then a strong wind begins to rustle through the trees. And the birds chirp, and the dolphins whistle, and the whales sing, and the drum of the akua continues. And then a cloud appears. A cloud begins to take form and come closer to the hilltop in this way. And one human may experience it as a pirate ship. Another human may experience it as a saucer. Another human may experience seeing it as the V-shaped craft. Or some it is just the cloud itself. But it begins to then come closer, and then, as you would say, lands on a not too distant hilltop. Then the humans have the experience of truly membering in the now. And then see the not too distant hilltop with the cloud, ship, or whatever representation that each individual human sees. They begin to see this horizon, this landscape, as being perhaps what you would define as 2D, as flat, as part of the hologram. And then from there, the human is able to essentially, as you would understand it, bilocate, to fold time and space, member, hua, hu, ha, and truly then be able to meet us in the neutrality, to truly then see, meet each other, create a hilltop, a third hilltop between the two. Then the eyes in this way are able to truly take form. The inner eye can reflect to the outer eye, and many different costumes in this way will also be seen, for that is how we all like to co-create together to create this physical experience that is truly stemming from the inner eye. This is one location, one memory of our future that we can co-create together.
Beautiful.
Thank you. The B-U-T, you. Be you to the fullest. That is you.
Wow. I got chills from this.
And that then, as you understand, is an indication of your higher mind, of your higher self, of your most preferred frequency speaking to you. And also then being able to recognize, as we always wish to remind you all, the symbolisms in the story. That it does not need to be literally the who's, what's, when, where's, why's, how's, but it is the emotional resonance, it is the message in this way that is conveyed through your stories.
Yes, and as you were telling it, I was tuning into the sensations rather than the story itself.
Yes.
And it's very, very powerful. I thank you so much for that co-creation.
And we thank you as well. We bid you an exciting morning, day, afternoon, evening, any time in your timelessness of the now, full of further integration, full of further knowing that you can trust your trust, and full of further redefining what you define to be the divine. We send our unconditional love to you and to you. Good day.